Hello and welcome back to Kelo Dimag Se, presented to you by Dream 11. The last game between Sri Lanka and Australia went according to plan for me. I said David Warner will score the runs. David Warner and Aaron Finch will ice the chase, and so they did. I had Warner as my vice captain. In fact, we had run a contest for the last game. We had asked you who will be fetching the highest number of points in that game, and we have picked a winner for that. They won themselves a gift voucher. The name of the person who's won it is Translator KK, also known as Krishnakant. Well done, Krishnakant. Your prize is on the way. Thanks for reaching out to our email. He left his comment, the answer in his comment section of YouTube of the YouTube video. And the game between England and Australia will also have a similar contest. All you need to do is just predict the player that will fetch the highest number of points for this game between England and Australia. The last game, the one that Krishnakant had picked, was David Warner, and my vice captain for that particular day. He was the person who fetched highest number of points, and hence he was declared the winner. So predict your winner for your name, that is whichever player you believe will fetch the highest points on the Dream 11 fantasy segment and stand a chance to win some great prizes. Remember, you need to send in your entries on the comment section well before the game starts, well before or just a minute before. If, for example, the game is starting at 7:30 p.m., it needs to come in before 7:29 p.m. All entries coming post that will not be considered. So do keep that in mind. Today's game on Kelo Dimag Se, presented to you by Dream 11 will be the old rivals, Australia versus England. Australia have a good start. They had a reasonably decent game against South Africa, won in the last over, and then in the last game, David Warner came back to form, Aaron Finch came back to form. They put in a commanding performance against Sri Lanka. While on the other hand, England have also been equally dominant. Sorry, equally dominant is a wrong term. They've been very dominant so far. So the old arch rivals, the Ashes rivals, are back at it, and this time they will be playing at Dubai. Games at Dubai have had an interesting template. Teams that have chased have won so far. The wicket has got better after it started slow. So this particular contest will be an evening game. So again, the team winning the toss will look to bowl first. But there are quite a few interesting matchups that we have to watch. Both these teams have got together and played some T20 cricket in England recently, last year. So they've had some run of forms. Butler performed really well, had a lot of runs in that particular competition. Adil Rashid was a bit expensive but picked up a lot of wickets. Maxwell had a wonderful series as well, so he was pretty decent. Mitchell Marsh did reasonably well. So yeah, Ashton Agar did pretty well. I don't know if Australia will bring Ashton Agar in. So these are the things we need to remember going into tonight's contest. So for me, I'm going with a 4-bowler theory again. Bowlers fetch you points, 25 points, economy rate, and then so on and so forth. They will fetch you a lot of points. So I will begin with my 4 bowlers. A heavily right-handed Australian batting lineup. Again, Hasaranga did pretty well as I had expected him to do. So I expect Adil Rashid to be amongst the wickets. Against Bangladesh, it was Moeen Ali who did the damage, but Adil Rashid, he bowled towards the end in UAE. He got hit to the short boundary by the left-hander. So all those things do not count. I think he will come into his own. Adil Rashid is my leggy, and I'm picking his opposite number, Adam Zampa, as well. Yes, there are a few left-handers in the English lineup, but Adam Zampa has done well in T20 cricket and has done well against England as well. So both the leggies are in as far as my 4-bowler theory is concerned. The 2 quicks are Pat Cummins. Pat Cummins largely, has had a reasonable matchup against some of the England batters, so he's in. He picked up a couple of wickets last game as well. Couple or maybe 3 in the last game as well. So he fetched me a lot of points. And then I'm going with Tymal Mills. Tymal Mills has been used through the middle and at the death by Morgan. So I expect him to continue the trend. He's got slower balls into the pitch, which might fetch some long hits and catches on the fence. So these are my 4 bowlers. I have split them nicely between Australia and England, 2 leggies and then 2 quicks. And I'm going with the 3 all-rounder theory. I'm going with a batter light. I was thinking whether I should pick Bairstow or not. We will come to that a little later. I'm going with 3 all-rounders. I'm going a bit light with the batters, 3 batters and a keeper. Before I go to the all-rounders and the batter, I will start with my keeper. Butler is a lock-in. The reason I'm not picking Bairstow is because I'm short of points. If I have to pick Bairstow, I have to compromise elsewhere, which is not quite working. I tried doing it, but didn't quite work. So that is the only reason I'm having to leave Bairstow out. In case we need to pick Bairstow, then we need to probably leave a batter that I've picked. So Bairstow is batting at number 4. I expect David Malan to bat at 3 for a bit, and then if Bairstow scores, my day is done. But then my keeper is Buttler. I'm going with three batters. Three batters are David Warner, Jason Roy, and Steven Smith. Steven Smith is the insurance. He insured the game for Australia against Sri Lanka as well after a couple of quick wickets fell later in the innings. And Steven Smith is a lock-in. Everybody is picking Steven Smith, so I will not be any different with that regards to that. Warner is back in form, has had a lot of say in the fantasy segment, picks up a lot of points, and hence David Warner is a lock-in. Jason Roy at the top, batting with Buttler, gets me 30-40 runs, picks up a few catches, so he is also a lock-in. So those are my three batters. And now to my all-rounders, which is possibly the only area where I could have fitted in an extra batter, maybe a David Malan, Morgan, or even a Bairstow. But I choose to go with three all-rounders. Moeen Ali, a largely right-handed Australian batting lineup, but still I expect Moeen to bowl an over or two at David Warner up front. That will be a really, really mighty good contest. David Warner will look to hit him, and Moeen Ali has had a reasonable form in the power play, so that is going to be a reasonable contest. And Moeen Ali, I expect him to bat, have a say with the bat this game as well. So Moeen Ali is there. The second all-rounder is also a fix. Everybody will pick him. Glenn Maxwell, a heavily left-handed English batting lineup, which was the case in the first game as well when they played South Africa. They had a few left-handers in David Miller, Quinton de Kock at the top. So Maxwell was able to bowl his quota of overs. So again, with England having David Malan, Owen Morgan and all that, I expect Maxwell to bowl through his quota, at least a few overs, and then have a say with the bat, which he's always done against England. So Maxwell will be my vice captain and my second all-rounder. And my third all-rounder was a toss-up between Marcus Stoinis and Liam Livingstone. Marcus Stoinis is batting below at number 5 and 6. Liam Livingstone does a very similar role, but with the number of left-handers that England has, maybe he will be fitted in at maybe 4 or 5 just to break that left-hander theory. So Liam Livingstone has also bowled a few overs constantly at long on and long off, picking up a couple of catches. So Liam Livingstone is my third all-rounder. He's picked up a few wickets as well, so that comes in handy. It always should count. Marcus Stoinis hasn't bowled a lot, and that's why Liam Livingstone over Marcus Stoinis. And that's pretty much my lineup. So now to mention my captain and vice captain, I did say Maxwell was my vice captain, but my captain for the day, who was my vice captain of the day for the last game against Sri Lanka, it's David Warner. David Warner is the captain of the day for me. Maxwell is the vice captain. So how does my team finally stack up? Jos Buttler, the keeper, David Warner, Steven Smith, and Jason Roy, my three batters. Three all-rounders in Moeen Ali, Liam Livingstone, and Glenn Maxwell. And my four bowlers are Pat Cummins, Temal Mills, Adam Zampa, and Adil Rashid. There's one more small tip that I may give. If in case you feel like making a change somewhere, depending upon which team is batting first. If a team is batting first, rather let me put it this way. If a team is bowling second, you can take a punt by leaving the spinner out, whoever is bowling second, because the wicket is tending to get better, and with due, maybe leave the spinner out and get an extra bowler or a batter if you want to take a chance. But the rest of it, I think, is a pretty safe bank, and it will work. Those are my tips. Hope you had a good time, and also put your best fantasy team, and hope this helps. All the very best. And before I go, tell me again, for today's game, the contest is open. Guess which player will be fetching the highest number of points in this contest between England and Australia and stand a chance to win prizes. You need to put your comments well before the game begins. Like in India, it begins at 7:30 p.m. So 7:29 p.m. is the cutoff time. See you and have a good time.